Welcome to Success in Motion. Join us as we dive deep with top leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, uncovering strategies to grow, scale, and succeed.
Welcome back to the Success in Motion podcast. I'm your host, Alex Burho, and today we're going to be joined by Reham Sadek, who is a board-certified psychiatrist with children, adolescents, and adults. She's the co-founder of Focus Psychiatry Clinic and has written 2 books, one of which actually has just came out. So, Reham, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Alex. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, can you just give us a quick snapshot of what you do as a psychiatrist with your clinic and your books, and then we'll kind of go from there?
Of course. So I'll start from what I'm doing now, and maybe we can go backward.
Yeah.
Currently, I work as a full-time psychiatrist at Lakeland Regional Hospital. And I am also the co-founder, like you said, of Focus Psychiatry Clinic. That's my private practice. Um, I see kids, adults, and adolescents. And I also do both of inpatient and outpatient work, both. So I always like to do different things because I get bored easily. So I have to keep it interesting. I really love what I do every day. I love my job. I'm very blessed. So that's what I do now, right now, in terms of like my full-time job. And of course, on the side, I'm a publisher and a book author. And I wrote 2 books so far. The first one came out in 2023. It is Raising Resilient Children in a Challenging World. And the second one just came out recently, which is Parenting Kids with ADHD.
That's awesome. And we'll dive a little bit into your books and everything in just a few minutes. But can you go ahead and just share a little bit about your history? How is it you decided to become a psychiatrist, and how did you get here?
Oh, wow. Okay, that really reminds me of how old I am, Alex. It goes back a while ago. So I graduated medical school in Egypt from Cairo University in 1999. And I also only decided to become a psychiatrist in my last year of medical school, where I was introduced to someone who became a mentor and a role model, and really someone who I looked at and I said, I want to be this. I want to be this when I grow up. And I did. And I had the privilege of training with him actually for a short while before I left Egypt and I came to the US. His name was Yahya Rakhawi. He's a very famous, world famous psychiatrist in Egypt. Um, so I came to this country in the year 2000, and I had to do all the studies again and get my steps in USMLE and all the equivalency to be able to license as a practicing physician in the US. So that journey took a while. It was very difficult because of, immigration, moving from one country to another, different language, different culture, everything was different, and you left everything behind. So that was difficult, but it was doable, and I did it, and I'm very blessed, and I have no regrets whatsoever. I would do it all over again if I have to. Um, so did my residency in Chicago Medical School, graduated that in 2010, and then did my child and adolescent fellowship at USF in Tampa, and graduated that in 2012, and started practicing after that. So it was a long journey,
Yeah.
but
And again, I know with how many residencies and fellowships there are, it really adds up. What was kind of your motivation or reasoning for, really wanting to specialize in childhood psychology and adding those extra years of fellowship and going from there?
yes, that's an interesting point, because a lot of people were like, well, you did 4 years of residency. It's enough. Don't you want to start making money? Oh yeah, I do, of course. But I was really interested in child psychiatry the minute I was exposed to it, and I was like, this is what I really want to do. And I have no regrets. It's all worth it. I would do it again if I have to.
Mhm.
So when I started seeing kids, and it's very different than adults, but it's very interesting. The motive really was, when you look at the pathology, when you treat adults, and you know that if you had met them years ago before the damage was completed, maybe you would be able to do something. Maybe you could help them. Maybe this could be prevented. At least some of it. I'm not saying all of it, because some of the pathology comes from environment, from parents, from genetics. So you cannot prevent it all, but at least you could do something to make it a little less intense, or make it a little better for these people, so they don't have to suffer that much. So that's what really got me interested in child psychiatry.
Yeah. Now, with the differences between adult psychiatry and child psychiatry, does your typical kind of child patient look like? Who's the appropriate candidate for psychiatry for kids?
Yes, absolutely. Anybody who has a problem that is psychiatric in nature, psychological in nature, or behavioral in nature is a candidate to see a child psychiatrist. And I'm a big advocate for specialization. So if I have an illness, I want to go to the specialist, to the ones that's highly trained, highly specialized in the area where I need help. Okay. Primary care is great. The pediatricians are great, but they are not as trained as well as a child psychiatrist who had 6 years or 5 years of training in that area alone. So I am a big advocate of specialization. So anybody who has a psychological problem, and the age does not really matter. We see kids ages 2 and up. So don't think that your child is too young to see a psychiatrist. No, it's not. So behavioral problems, psychological problems, anybody who is suffering from something like that would be a candidate to see a child psychiatrist. Most of our patients come, especially this early, for behavioral problems. That's the one that more prominent, and you can see it, whether the parents see it or the teacher see it, and then they send the child.
Yeah. Now, as you get these children, again, I'm thinking from kind of a listener's perspective. They're like, "Hey, my child does act out, but kind of every child does." When
Mhm.
does it kind of turn from, "Hey, they're being normal children who can't sit still very well," to, "Hey, maybe we should get this looked at a little more"?
This is a great question, Alex, and I'm so happy you asked that, to give me the opportunity to clarify, because I hear what you just said all the time. So, when do we draw the line between this is just normal behavior, kids are being kids, or this is a problem that we need to address? Really, the key factor is the behavior or the problem interfering with my functioning? Is the behavior or the problem preventing me to be able to participate in class, to be able to participate socially on the playground, play with the other kids in an appropriate way? Or are the kids staying away from me because they don't want to deal with me? Am I annoying? So, when the problem starts to interfere with your ability to function normally in society, whether society is home, school, church, or whatever the environment is, then we need help. Then this is a problem. So that's really where you draw the line.
I like that. And that makes it very clear of, hey, you're being a kid versus now it's
Yes.
affecting things.
Yes, and again, you look and you compare, and there's nothing wrong with comparing. You don't have to tell the child that you're comparing, but you look and you observe, and you see that your kid is acting very different than most of the others. So, what's the problem? A lot of parents actually realize that their first child has a problem when they have the second child, and then they start see the difference. Um, so yeah.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So obviously it's something you're very passionate about. We can hear the excitement as you're talking, even about your schooling and, hey, this is how you can help people. So what kind of inspired you or motivated you to start your own clinic and start being a published author?
Okay, so two different things, but they really happened around the same time,
Okay.
2023 and 2024. Publishing, so I'm a book lover.
Mm-hmm.
I love books from the minute I can, as far as I can remember. When I was a little girl, the best thing you can give me is a book. Better than candy, better than anything. So when I do something really good or when I get a good grade, my mom would take me to well, let's go to the bookstore, let's go to the library and get a book. That would make me so happy. So I love books. So in 2023, I was introduced, complete coincidence, to a course that taught me how to publish books. And the minute I heard it, I knew exactly I'm going to do this. I jumped on it right away. I had no second thoughts. And I have no regrets. It is so rewarding. I absolutely love it. And although when I first started in publishing, it was, started as a way to make passive income, another stream of income. But then when I did it, I enjoyed it so much to the point where even if I'm not going to make any money, I'm still going to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
love it that much. So that's how publishing started. And then the clinic came a little bit later in 2024. Um, Myself and my colleague, Dr. Kolta, we felt like we can do more. I always feel like I can do more, but sometimes it's a problem. But I felt like we could do more. I mean, we have a full-time job, yeah, but then we still can do more. We can help more people. We can see more people. So we decided to start this clinic. It's a virtual clinic because we do have a full-time job. So it gave us the flexibility of controlling our hours. We don't have to be in a certain place at a certain time. And we decided to do it and we started. And so far it's working very well. Again, I have no regrets.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of take those each a little individually. So with the books, what are the topics and kind of how did you decide this is what I want to write about?
Okay. So the first book, it was about resilience. I am very interested in the topic of resiliency. And I'll tell you why. As a child psychiatrist, I see that a lot of the pathology that we see, whether it's especially when it comes to anxiety, OCD, phobias, social phobia is big now. It's very, very common to the point of really debilitating social phobia. These kids are homebound, they refuse to leave the house. That is, when you see that, it's so sad. It's very, very sad. Um, and I feel like, well, if we have a little bit more resiliency, maybe we're just raising these kids in a way that we're always focused on making them happy, making them comfortable all the time. And it's great to want to make your kids happy. We all do want to make our kids happy and comfortable. But sometimes a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of disappointments, a little bit of challenge, a little bit of trying and failing and trying again is just normal part of development, is normal part of life. We should not be sheltering these kids completely from any kind of discomfort because how are they going to grow? How are they going to challenge anything or try hard or fail and get up and try again from the first time they fail or somebody says something nasty to them, whether it's dance class, whether it's on the basketball court, then they fall apart and they don't want to try it ever again. Well, that's not good. So I really, and resiliency has been studied a lot lately, which grateful for that, to be honest, because we really need to be more aware of it. We need to talk about it more. So that's how the first topic started. And I found myself kind of, you know, focusing on parenting, maybe because I'm a child psychiatrist, maybe because I'm a parent myself, or maybe a combination of both. So when I decided to write the second book, I also wanted to stay in the same niche, kind of. So I was like, okay, what is the most common thing that I get asked about? Parents struggle with, parents ask me what to do. it's ADHD. And when I say ADHD, I don't just mean ADHD by itself, because it's rarely by itself. It's always with something else, whether it's ODD or oppositional defiant disorder, or whether it's an anxiety or depression, or substance use maybe later on in life. So there is always a comorbidity with ADHD. And I really focus on that in the book. So I kind of like divided the book to different age groups, and also when you have specific comorbidities, autism, and anxiety, ODD, and so on, and how to handle that, how to um, handle it in a way to where the parents are not so frustrated. The problem with parenting a kid with ADHD is that the parents themselves, they get burned out, they get frustrated, and they try different things and they fail, and they feel horrible, and they feel horrible even more because they are feeling horrible about raising their own child, and that becomes very difficult. So I felt like the parents need help, and I get asked about it all the time. I was like, okay, then let me write a book about this. So that's how that came up.
That's awesome. And again, very applicable for both of those because anyone who's being a parent wants a resilient kid. ADHD is all kind of all over the place now, so that's great.
Yeah.
Um, so I know you mentioned you originally started writing the first book because you were trying to create an alternative stream of income and then fell in love with it. Something I really am interested about is creating those different streams of passive income. So, in addition to the book, what have been your thoughts on creating alternate streams of income? What have been your experience with it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I am actually, I am grateful that it got my attention, but for me, it came a little bit later in my career. So I wish I was introduced to passive income when I first graduated. When I first graduated from fellowship and I started working, um, I was just more focused on like most people on saving money, having a saving account, or putting your money like buying gold or doing something to just save, save, save. Well, saving is not really gonna make you financially stable, financially independent, to where you can retire one day and have a good income that will sustain the same lifestyle that you had when you were working. We know that most people, when they retire, the income, even if they have a great retirement plans and everything, the income drastically changes, and you see a lot of people have to downsize. So I actually was introduced to passive income by a friend of mine who we grew up together. And he is a dentist, and he has a lot of real estate investments. So he buys homes, rents them, renovates them, sells them, and so on and so forth. And he loves it because he doesn't have to put probably very little time into doing that, or he can hire someone to manage it for him, and he's just doing his full-time job as a dentist, and that's income coming to him without really having to do much for it. You have to work hard for it in the beginning, because people hear that and think, oh, it's easy. Well, it's not easy. Nothing is worthwhile is ever easy. So in the beginning, you do have to put a little bit of work. You do have to do your homework. You do have to figure out what really works for you. How much money do you need to start, and so on. So, but I love passive income, and publishing is also a great way of passive income, because once you create a book, or a course, it doesn't have to be a book, or an audiobook, or anything like that. And as long as that lives on the internet, which we all know is not going anywhere, you're making income from that without having to do much. So you do the work in the beginning, but once it's done, it's passive income coming to you for the rest of the book's life, or Amazon's life, or internet's life. So
I love that. And so it sounds like you have a lot of really good things going between your books, between your clinic that you guys started up. What exciting plans or initiatives do you have coming up in the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
I am so glad you asked that, Alex. Because like I said before, I always feel like I want to do more.
Hmm.
So I want to share a little bit of a personal story with you, and with the audience. I struggled with my weight all my life. Since I was 13, since I can remember, I always felt I was a little bit overweight compared to my peers, which escalated to having been diagnosed with a thyroid problem in my late teens, early 20s, had surgery for it, continued to struggle with my weight until about 3 or 4 years ago. My problem was that doctors always told me diet and exercise. So when I go to the doctor with a problem, they send it back to me and they tell me to go fix it. And that model is a complete failure. It's never going to work. When a patient comes to me with a problem, I don't send them back home, say, go fix it. They're coming to me to fix it. I have to help them fix it. Yes, they do have a role in it, but I am the professional. I am the expert. I have to introduce the solution. So all my life until about 4 years ago, every doctor I spoke to, and I've tried plenty. Every doctor I spoke to about my weight told me, it's simple, diet and exercise. Eat less, exercise more, and you're gonna lose weight. Well, I've been trying that since I was 13, don't you think? And it's not working. So it's time to do something different. And I finally met a doctor that told me, and I told her when I first started talking, I said, I know you're going to tell me to diet and exercise. She said, no, I'm not going to tell you that because I know you can't. I know you can't. You can't because you don't have the time. You don't have the energy. You don't have the stamina. You're getting older, not younger. I know you can't. I'm going to fix it. I said, are you serious? And she said, yes. And she did. She did. She prescribed me medicine that helped me drastically, changed my life. So after that, I decided to become a board certified physician in obesity medicine because I want to help people like she helped me. And I so much appreciate and value how much obesity is becoming a real epidemic. It's very common. Right now, the rates are in the range of 43 to 45% of people are overweight or obese. And they say by the year 2030, it will be more than 50% in the US.
Oh, wow.
So 5 out of every 10 people will be obese or overweight. And that is not good, including children, by the way. So I decided to pursue that. And it was, again, something I jumped on the minute I heard about it. I was like, I am going to do this. So that's what I'm working on right now, getting my board certification in obesity medicine. And once I do that, God willing, I will be able to see patients who are suffering from obesity or overweight and be able to help them, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up our interview, would that be kind of in the same clinic, or would you have to kind of open up a different clinic, or how would that integrate with what
It
you're
would
trying
be, yeah, that's a great question. It would be in the same clinic because it's the same person. It's the same patient. We don't separate you.
Yeah.
The same person who has the depression or the anxiety who is suffering from obesity or overweight, it's the same. And if I can do both in one visit and I can manage both in one visit, that is really the goal. And that is really why they're encouraging more physicians to get exposed to obesity medicine and get familiar with it and be able to manage these patients.
That's awesome. That really is, and it's so, so necessary.
I could not agree more.
All right. Well, Reham, this has been a fascinating conversation. I've loved all the different perspectives you've shared. If someone wants to reach out to you and continue this conversation, what would be the best way of getting a hold of you?
Okay. So we have a website. It's focuspsychiatryclinic.com. It's pretty easy. Focuspsychiatryclinic.com. And also phone number. Text messaging is the best way to get a hold of us now. It's the easiest and the most convenient. So our phone number is 863-84 and the word focus. 863-84-FOCUS. So you can text or call that number. And if you go on the website, focuspsychiatryclinic.com, you will be able to email us or reach out to us by phone or fax or however you want.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for your time and sharing all of your valuable insights with us. We appreciate having you on here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into Success in Motion. Want to share your story? Visit successinmotionpodcast.com/guest to apply and be featured on the show.